Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you are amazing today. So, I got the joys of technology side winding me, and I lost a very valuable 20-minute market update that I pushed through to TradingView, and something happened, and the computer restarted on itself, and that was lost. So I'm pretty pissed off about that because it spoke about a lot of valuable topics. But unfortunately, I'm still have to lean into what the universe wants. And I guess that wasn't meant to be for some reason. So instead, you don't get to see the bits about confirmed turning points, why this structure is the new one that we've gone for, and the conversation around counter trend trades. So what I'm going to use this little segment for is just to kind of lean in towards more, I suppose, what is relevant to the overall trading experience from a course perspective, and that is to choose the correct equipment. Now, it's ironic that I'm saying that after my computer restarted, but one of the elements of serious trading, I don't want to say professional trading or something to that effect, but guys who take trading seriously and are really looking to make money from it, is to invest in the right equipment. I've got all Apple original products, and this is from years of experience with Windows and whatever PCs. I've had Asus, I've had Lenovo, I've had Dell, I've had Acer, you name them, I've had them. And each one of them I've wanted to throw over the balcony into onto the road or into the river or onto the ocean or whatever, because they land up aggravating. I've had to disk defragment and all of this other stuff that no computer user should actually be needing to have to do. And eventually I just got tired of being like a computer technician where I've bought the machine, I've got the latest Windows and all the updates and stuff, and I'm still having to deal with effing bugs and all that stuff that came out. So I eventually abandoned Windows a few years ago, and thankfully so. I got to say that moving over to Mac has been much, much better overall, except for the ironically experience I've just had this morning. It's had my back in all conditions. My very expensive Asus machine, with all the specs and all the RAM and all of this and all of that, whilst I was traveling, bombed out on me because of the humidity of where I was at the time, and because it had a fan, it clogged up the fan, and then I tried to use rubbing spray, rubbing alcohol to kind of get the debris or the congestion on the from the fan off of the fan, but in doing so, a tiny bit made its way onto the motherboard, which is where the fan is more or less situated to kind of keep the conditions down. And I bombed out the entire machine. And here I am in a position where I have to trade other people's money, etc. And I've got my expensive laptop that just died on me out in the islands. And there's when you're in the islands, there's no nearby computer experienced technician that can fix stuff up for you. Now, that's a very isolated circumstance and very niche to me, but I think a lot of guys who trade or want to make professional trading their core income will want to travel, and you want to be on the beach, and you want to be in all these beautiful places around the world like I've been. But unfortunately, having machines like that didn't work out. So equipment is incredibly important to a successful trading, especially those who want to be like digital nomads and light on their feet and do what I did. So with that said, the best thing I could have done is gone for Apple products and go for the MacBook collection. Everything is SSD, and it doesn't get too hot, it doesn't need fans, and it's just been a pleasure. Just the size of the MacBooks as well, it's been easy to kind of fold up, put into a sleeve, put into a backpack, and go from location to location, but not compromising on computer power. It's like the multiple core processing units have been flawless, and I've put the computer through the test. I've done video editing alongside. I mean, that in itself, like, it requires a lot of compute power and RAM and resources. So I've done video editing alongside having charts open and multiple charts at that. So my browsers have been pushed to the brink in terms of all the tools and the price action and all the activity going on with the browsers. Alongside, what else? Listening to music at the same time and so on and so forth. So I've had a very busy operating system, all happening at the same time. And with being on the road and stuff, you need battery power. So having all of that operating and still being on battery has just been some of the reasons why. I mean, the screen quality is great, the audio quality is great, but some of the reasons why I've stuck by Mac, because Mac stuck by me. Like, they've had my back through trying conditions, and that's what you need. And you need a reliable partner. Some guys have got Windows machines, and some guys, customized machines with multiple everything inside there and extra RAM and all that stuff. Good for you, as long as you got a system that's there to have your back. And the reason why this is also important is because the nuances of small mistakes become very expensive in the trading world. If you've got a machine that all of a sudden restarts whilst you're trying to set a stop loss, or you're trying to get out of a trade, or you see a very lucrative trade about to happen, and you're trying to make that trade, and then your computer freezes, or the internet bombs out, or, oh, I've got high speed internet. I've really invested to have the best ecosystem support me. So if you guys don't have that, it's best that you keep that in mind, especially whilst getting into the trading elements of the course. It's something I strongly recommend. So don't skimp on that, because small mistakes can be very costly. I remember once I walked to the shops after opening up a trade, and the kind of plugins I had at the time was activating on triggers. So a while back, there was the system that I had where the thresholds will open and close trades, so it will alleviate the pressure on me doing all the work. And what happened was the computer went to sleep whilst I was out buying groceries. And when I'd come back, I think set up my GAN too soon, and I was going a counter trend more or less. And the price went further down, not much down, just further down to there. And I look at my account and it's like in the red, but not looking like positive, like in the red. And I'm like, why did this happen? I don't understand. That's because my computer went to sleep, and the price went beyond the stop loss, and now the risk reward ratio is skew, and I'm running into loss. I'm having heart palpitations because I got an open trade beyond my threshold, and so on. And it's not even your fault. It's all of that stuff when it comes to the trading world that largely isn't your fault. It's just happenstance. Like, an internet might go down if you had a Wi-Fi cafe or something to that effect. Maybe the internet's not fast enough, and it hangs a bit. Maybe this is not first world problems, but this kind of stuff can happen. So just ensure that you've got the best that you can afford and have in your life when it comes to trading, because it needs it. Some guys, and something I actually recommend, if it's possible and you have the money to do so, just buy maybe a secondhand Apple Mac or MacBook rather, and have that as your dedicated trading machine. Like, you get rid of all the crap. You just keep what you need whilst trading, and you've got something that is going to be there for you come what may. So if it is something along the lines of, let's say, a sturdy workhorse that never goes to sleep, you can actually download some apps for Mac. There's one called Caffeinated. So, I mean, it plays on the whole coffee pun thing, and it doesn't let your screen go to sleep like what happened to me, and it's always on. And instead of like worrying about your battery long term and your screen and all that kind of stuff, you just accept it is what it is, and it's your trading laptop, and you have it with something like called Caffeinated, and you're having it on all the time, dedicated to your trades. Only got your trading software on there. For me, it'll be MetaTrader 5. And my browser over here, there's no cross-pollination between resources. Everything is fully dedicated. It's unlikely that you're going to have something that restarts or something to that effect. Just get your equipment where it needs to be, because guys, like I've just experienced this morning, things happen, man. And they're totally unexpected. I haven't had my computer restart on me for ever. I can't even remember the last time where there was a bug or something like that happened. And it happened to me this morning. It's just beautifully timed because of the topic we're chatting about now. But just absolutely ensure that you've got the best setup available. I've got the Apple Magic Extended keyboard. I've got the Apple touchpad, the separate one. Obviously my MacBook, as well as everything. I mean, even my camera equipment and my microphone equipment, all that kind of stuff. I don't skimp on technology, because having that as your noble steed, as your partner in this, is absolutely crucial. So yeah, learn from my mistakes and don't skimp out on your equipment, because it becomes costly and unnecessary, and it'll ruin your emotions. And there becomes a time for some people who aren't 1,000% all in on trading, where enough is enough. And when your equipment is against you, despite all of the high stake environments and moving money with open markets and all that kind of stuff, you don't want that to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. You want to just be best prepared, and try kind of protect yourself against unnecessary frustration and loss, and all that going forward. So moving on now, obviously the leap has opened up, and this is something that I want to say is extremely frustrating for newcomers to a new exchange. And it's a big barrier for newcomers to try out new exchanges and new ways of trading, because you can lose money, and one move can wreck you, can absolutely ruin you. So what I'm talking about is, I've never used this before, and there's a lot of ambiguity over here. DOM is the first time I've ever seen this. Something, obviously the O is something to do with order. Who knows what the rest? No one really speaks about this. I definitely wouldn't use the lingo. So something order something, maybe market. Who cares? But it's not clear, right? And the biggest problem about the trading world is that things aren't obvious and clear. There's always these extra studies that you have to get into just to achieve simple wins. So, for example, sell to like average Joe or layman's or a newbie or whatever the case is, no matter how young or old they are, it's pretty obvious. Sell means to sell something, to exchange money and close an open trade. For example, you sell, right? You sell it out. But in this context, sell means to go short on the market. So for anyone who doesn't know what the whole shorting is, it's like, what? Sell? I mean, let me just try sell out of my position. And they can kind of, with the details in here, kind of like double click, so like sell, get me out of here. And then what actually happens is that will populate orders into the order book. And whilst price is going up, now you're losing money. So this is just a big frustration for me, across all exchanges. It's not clear and easy for guys to understand. It's all this jargon it's limiting and irritating. Hey, and then we go on to market limit and stop. Okay, so stop order, I haven't used it in a long time, so I'm going to waste my time with that. Limit order is you put orders in a certain threshold, and then what the hell is this ticks? I don't know. Unnecessary rubbish, yeah. Okay, so you said what price you want the order to happen at, and then when price gets past there, or actually you put it in, it gets shown in the order book, and then when the price of the market gets to that point, it sells at that price, and then you get into the position. The reason why I really don't like using limit is because it can happen where, let's say, for example, your limit order is over here. And let's say there's a little wick that comes down. What can happen is that because it tickles and goes back up again, is that your order doesn't get fulfilled. Let's say you've got 5 Bitcoin in there, but the order book is only able to sell, let's say, 3 of them or something to that effect. There'll be a partially filled order and then maybe a bounce the other direction. So if that's not the case, that's just an example of various different ways of things going wrong. 15 minutes already. I'll kind of pick up the pace here. The orders might not be fulfilled, or it might just you put your limit order over here, price doesn't quite make it, and then it goes towards target, and you're like, oh damn, I missed out on that trade. So that's a reason why I don't like to do limit orders. I've just had my fair share experience of failing in that way. Now, that's market order is something I always use. It's slightly more expensive and you buy more of the order book, but I guess on the major caps, it doesn't really matter as much as it would on the less popular markets because a lot of guys are trading and there's quite a lot of people in the world with a lot of money. So it's not necessarily too much of a bad thing. Now, going into this environment over here, it again is so aggravating because I covered this in my previous video. However, that's all gone. So I would kind of go do it again. Units, it isn't clear as to what that is. And there's no like info box or like help or anything on. It's just, they just expect people to understand what's going on. And that for me is such a gripe that I have against the industry because that is in the favor of the exchange because they make their fees when there's opening and buying and closing and rational. Like the exchange is in it to make profit for itself. It doesn't really care about the person using it. Like DYO and do your own DYR. Do your own research. I don't know what it's called DYO, but like they've always put the pressure on the trader. However, what's he doing that? But they take very little or no kind of accountability for their bad design. So in terms of units over here, it doesn't say of what, right? Units could be units in dollars. Units could mean anything. Units is a very blanket term. And this rubbish over here is so, I don't know, useless as well. And there's an 0.1, like it's a waste of time, effort, energy, and focus. Yo, Labradors are the cutest things. Anyway, so in terms of setting a stop loss and all that kind of stuff, it's also not very clear on how it all operates. So please make sure that you know what's going on prior to any of this, as it is ambiguous and I fall prey to it. So what I learned the hard way is, and that's unfortunately what happens is in trading, like you've got to lose to figure out what is going on. I over here figured out that units over here means units of the commodity traded. So, which is hella frustrating because now you've got to do additional work to try to do the conversion. It's not in straight dollars. Like you've got to find out what the dynamic price of Bitcoin is unit wise to see what is the risk reward ratio relevant to the size of your account. So I think TradingView have given everyone $100,000 to trade with. So that's basically 1.5 Bitcoin. So to work with correct math, you have to keep dynamically updating the price and understanding what it is relative to the input because it's not clear. So out of aggravation, in my previous video, I just typed in 1,000 because 1,000 is 1% of 100,000 because we're given 100,000 to work with, which works in the line of the risk reward ratio profile that I operate from. And I spoke all about counter trend trading. We don't do it, but trend is relative to the size of the charts that you're working from. So if your chart is in an upward move on the look forward chart relative to what you're trading on, then that becomes an upward trend to the lower trend. So the 2 minutes, 8 minutes, 32 minutes, this would be an uptrend for it because it's got a progression to the upside on this transition over here. So 25 seconds left. But basically what I did was I typed in 1,000, thinking it was $1,000. Turned out to be 1,000 Bitcoin. So my P&L is sitting at 63,900, which is quite crazy, all because I got the wrong entry in. So just be careful on how you operate these tools and just make sure that you're properly informed before it happens. All right, guys, I'm going to cry about my